Hello, this is a walkthrough for the foundation paper. It's a calculator one from May 2023. So I just thought rather than look at a mark scheme, it might be more beneficial to have somebody talk you through the answers. It's up to you how you want to do it. You might want to complete the entire paper and then watch this walkthrough to see what you got right and then to try and understand the questions you got wrong, or you might want to do it question by question. Okay, so from the list, write down an even number. Sure you got this one right. I'm going to choose 8, but you could have chosen 26, 114, a square number. Okay, so our square number here, there's only one square number, it's 49, and the reason it's a square number is because it's created from a number times by itself. 7 times 7 is 49. 49 is a square number. A factor of 57. So 50, the number from the list has got to divide into this 57. Let me just look at the number 8. Well, I know 57 is not in the 8 times table, but if you did want to check, it is a calculator paper. You could have done 57 divided by 8, and you get a decimal, so it doesn't divide into it exactly. Not 11. 19 might work. Let me try. 57 divided by 19 is 3. So 19 is a factor of 57. So 4 different numbered cards. The range is 14. The median is 9. All the numbers are prime. So what do we know about a prime number? A prime number has exactly 2 factors. So 2 is a prime number. 3, 7. These are all your prime numbers. Less than 20. The lowest number is 5. Okay, so I'm going to deal with the range first of all. So the lowest number is 5. Find the range, it's the biggest number, take away the smallest number. Okay, so if we just add 14 to 5, we get 19. Yes, 19 is a prime number. 19 take away 5 is 14. So we've sorted that bit out. The median is 9. Okay, so if I order, well, so these numbers kind of are ordered smallest to largest. The middle number here, this would be the middle number. It'd be the number in between this number and this number, has to be 9. Okay, well, usually I think, well, let me just choose a number either side of it. So 8 and 10, but they're not prime numbers, so that's not going to work. So let's just think about this. If I put 7 here and 11 here, okay, so to find the middle number for these two numbers, 7 add 11 is 18, half of 18 is 9, and you can kind of tell anyway by the number spacing. 9 is in the middle of 7 and 11. 7 and 11 are both prime, so those are your answers. Okay, so question 3. Write down the next term in the sequence. What's the next number in the sequence? Let's just have a look what's going on. So we're adding 7 each time here, aren't we? So 26 add 7 is 33. Explain how you worked out your answer. Add 7. Okay, a fair 6-sided dice, numbered 1 to 6 is rolled. So immediately, if I look at this line, it's been split up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if you do roll a fair-sided dice, what's the probability it's going to land on each number? It's 1 out of 6. So which arrow shows the probability that the dice lands on a 5? What's the probability it's going to land on a 5? 1 out of 6, because there's 1, 5, and there's 6. It doesn't want that answer, does it? It wants a letter. There's 6 numbers in total. So where's 1/6 on this number line? It would be here, because it's split into 6 equal pieces. So B. Lands on a 7. Well, it's impossible to land on a 7. So it's 0, which is A. On a number greater than 2. How many numbers greater than 2 we've got? We've got 3. So greater than 2 does not include 2. We've got 3, 4, 5, and 6. So it's 4 out of 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4/6 is here, which is E. Right, 0.17 is a fraction. A couple of different ways you could do this. I like to times it by 100 to make it into a percentage first. That's 17%. 17% means 17 out of 100. So that is what this is as a fraction. Right, 0.04 is a percentage. Times a decimal by 100 to turn it into a percentage, 4%. Right, 7/8 is a decimal. Right, we can use our calculator, can't we? This here, this line means a division. So what's 7 divided by 8? Is 0.875. Okay, find the input when the output is 87. So we're going the reverse way through a function machine. So we do everything in reverse. So what's the opposite of add 7, subtract 7? And what's the opposite of times 4 divided by 4? So 87 take away 7 is 80. 80 divided by 4 is 20. The input is X and the output is Y. Okay, this is a slightly more complicated one because we're involved in a bit of algebra here. So if you put X into the function machine, X times 4 is 4X plus 7. That equals our output, which is Y. You need to put it equal to Y. The Y could go on the other side. That would also be correct. Yeah, and we've got our calculators here, 3 to the power 5. If you know how to use the power button on your calculator, you can just type that straight in. But that means you're multiplying 3 by itself 5 times, which is 243. And we've got the cube root of 2,744. So my cube root button is here. I don't know if you can see that. Wait for it to get it focused right. There's the square root button. The cube root button is that one in yellow above it. So you have to press the shift button and then the square root button. And it comes up with a cube root button. You may have a calculator like this, in which case it is so there's my square root and it's the blue button above it. So again, you press shift and this button, help it if it was on, which comes up with a box and a box and a square root. So you put your 3 in there in the top left hand corner, and then you have 2,744 gives you an answer of 14. Just make sure you cube rooting it, not square rooting it. Is it 14, wasn't it? Okay, so find the value of y. So 4 to the power y times 6 equals 384. I'm going to divide both sides by 6 first. 384 divided by 6 is 64. You've got 64 equals 4 to the power y. So how many times do we multiply 4 by itself to get 64? That's what 4 times 4 is 16, times by 4 again is 64, so y is 3. And because 4 to the power 3 equals 64. Right, 3 to the power minus 1 is a fraction. I would just put this straight into your calculator using your power button. You've got x with a little square by it there. If you've got this calculator. And it's a box with a box power on this calculator. So 3 to the power minus 1 just comes up with your answer, 1/3. Okay, question 8. 450 grams of flour costs £1.44. We need to get 1 kilogram. So I'd be thinking, right, okay, 1 kilogram's 1,000 grams, isn't it? I want to work this into something easy for me to get 1,000 grams. So I'm going to work out the value of 50 grams first of all. Okay, well, what do you divide 450 by to get 50? 9, isn't it? Because 45 divided by 9 is 5. 450 divided by 9 is 50. I'm going to do the same to this side. So £1.55 divided by 9, £1.44. It's not £1.55. £1.44 divided by 9 is 0.16. Right, I'm going to double it to get 100 grams. So times both sides by 2. 100 grams is worth 0.32 or 32 pence. But I want 1,000 grams because that's 1 kilogram. I'm going to multiply this by 10, which gives you £3.20. Okay, so we've got a farmer keeps sheep in a rectangular field, 120 metres by 180 metres. The farmer can keep up to 20 sheep per hectare. 1 hectare is 10,000 square metres. Work out the maximum number of sheep the farmer can keep in the field. We need to work out the area of this field first of all, don't we? How do you work out the area of a rectangle? Base times height. So that gives you 21,600 metres squared. So you've got that many square metres inside your field. We know 1 hectare is equal to 10,000 square metres. So I'm going to divide this by 10,000 to get how many hectares we have. Which gives you 2.16. Let's rub this little bit out here. So that's 2.16 hectares. So we can keep 20 sheep per hectare. So I'm just going to times that by 20 to get 43.2, which is 43 sheep. Finley is asked to solve the equation 5x plus 4 is equal to 19. Here is his working out. Write down an error that Finley has made. So how would you solve this equation here? I'd take 4 from both sides first. He's added 4. So plus 4 instead of subtract 4. That is his mistake. Okay, Charlie is asked to use the formula V equals U plus 80 to find the initial velocity when the acceleration is 5. The final velocity is 29. The time is 3 seconds. This is Charlie's working out. So we should have spotted here, we used 29 as the initial velocity instead of the final velocity. 29 should be your V. So 29 is final velocity. So equal to V, not U. Cookies are made using these ingredients. How many eggs are needed to make 48 cookies? So 48 cookies is double 24 cookies. We have 2 eggs here, so double that to get 4 eggs. Okay, how much sugar is needed to make 6 cookies? Right, how do we make 24 into 6? We divide by 4. How much sugar do we have here? 360 divided by 4 is 90, so 90 grams of sugar. Okay, so Ashley has 520 grams of cranberries and plenty of the other ingredients. Ashley thinks there is enough to make at least 80 cookies. Is she correct? Right, so 170 grams of cranberries. Let's see what 520 divided by 170 is. Okay, it's 3 and some decimals here. So I'm going to just times it by 3 first of all. 170 times 3, 510. So this is 24 cookies. Oops. If I times this by 3, we get 510 grams. If I times this by 3, 24 times 3, 72. We've got 72 cookies worth, but we have got 10 more grams here. So let's just have a look. Maybe what one cookie, how many cranberries you need for one cookie. So we're working out here. If I divide this by 24, I get for one cookie. So if I divide this by 24, I get a decimal again. Let's divide it by maybe, right, so we need 8 more cookies here, don't we, actually? Because we want to know for 80 cookies. So let's find out for 8 cookies. That's going to be easier. Because we can quite easily make 24 into 8 cookies by dividing it by 3. 170 divided by 3. Oh, here we go. Still get a decimal, that's fine. Is 56.7. So 510, round it to 57, is 567. Right, so the answer's no. We need 567 grams. So 520 grams is not enough. You could have explained that slightly differently to me, I guess, but I'm going to use this explanation. No, because Ashley needs 567 grams. And I'm going to put here plus 57 grams. So that's plus 8 cookies. Darcy makes 100 cookies. They're put into packets, each holding 6 cookies. Each packet of 6 cookies is sold for £1.35. Darcy sells all of these packets. Work out how much money Darcy receives. Okay, so she's got 100 cookies. Let's divide it by 6. Gives you 16.6 recurring packets. Okay, so how many full packets? We can only sell full packets of cookies, can't we? 16. Each of the 16 packets has 6 cookies in it. So what's 16 times 6? 96. So each packet of 6 is sold for £1.35. I didn't even need to know it was 96 cookies, but 16 times £1.35 is £21.60. Okay, surface area. Work out the surface area of this cuboid. So surface area is the total area of all your faces. How many faces do we have in a cuboid? We have 6 faces. So we need the area of all those 6 faces. So I'm going to look at this first. Here we've got a rectangle. Area of a rectangle is base times height. 5 times 4 is 20. That face there has the exact same area as this face here. So I'm just going to times it by 2 to get 40 centimetres squared. Let me choose a different face now. I'm going to use this bottom face here, which is also a rectangle. Area of this bottom rectangle, 6 times 4 is 24. That's exactly the same as this face here. I'm going to times that by 2. And finally, we want the front face and the back face. I'm going to leave those as white, I think. Can you see the front face? I'm going to highlight it like this, actually. There's my front face, which is base of 6, height of 5. 6 times 5 is 30. That's the same as this face here at the back. I'm going to double it. So I've got all my 6 faces here included, so I need to add them together to get my total surface area, 148 centimetres squared. Okay, Kareem runs 2,460 metres in 8 minutes. Calculate his average speed in metres per minute. So you could just think, well, speed equals distance over time. So I'm going to divide my distance by my time. Or it even says here, doesn't it, per minute? Well, it's 8 minutes, so it's going to be 2,460 divided by 8. 307.5 metres per minute. Right, Kareem says this means I can run 6,150 metres in 20 minutes. Write down one assumption Kareem has made. A few different answers you could have here, but I would say that he maintains the same speed. That's what we're assuming, he maintains the same speed. Now, let's just look at the mark scheme. Could have had also no hills. He doesn't get tired. Same weather, track conditions. Show the inequality, x is bigger than -2 on the number line. So when there's not an equals here, we haven't got an equals at the bottom, we just need an open circle, not coloured in. X can be anything bigger than -2, so we need an arrow pointing in this direction. Okay, Finlay has 72 sweets. 25% of the sweets to Alex, 1/6 to Umi, show that Finlay has 7/12 of the sweets left. How many does he give to Alex? 25%. 25%'s a quarter, right? So 72 divided by 4 gives you 18. He gives 1/6 to Umi. How do we work out 1/6? We just divide it by 6, don't we? 72 divided by 6 is 12. How many sweets do you have left? 72 take away 18, take away 12 gives you 42 sweets left. What fraction of sweets does he have left? Well, it's 42 out of 72. When you simplify that fraction, you can just simplify it on your calculator, but let's just have a look at our working out here. What's the common factor of 42 and 72? It's 6. We divide both of these by 6, we get 7/12. I'll show you how you use your calculator for this. So you've got a fraction button on your calculator, a box, like in a box underneath. If I just type in 42 as my numerator, 72 as the denominator, press equals. Oops, can you see it just simplifies it for you? Okay, the diagram shows quadrilateral and an equilateral triangle. So find an expression for the length of one side of the equilateral triangle. Give your answer in terms of x in its simplest form. So we know that they have an equal perimeter, it says here. Let's find the perimeter of our quadrilateral. How do you find the perimeter? The perimeter is the distance around the entire shape. So I'm going to add all my sides together. Let me simplify that. So I've got 5x, add 1x, add 6x, add 9x. Gives me 21x. Just collected all my x's. Now I need to collect all my numbers together. 4 add 2, add 8 minus 5. Minus 9. Okay, next step. What we need to do is, so we know the total perimeter of our triangle is 21x minus 9. Well, obviously there are 3 sides here, so if I divide that by 3, we get 7x minus 3. As an expression for one side. Multiply out and simplify. So 3x times x, 3x squared. 3x times 2y. 3 times 2 is 6. X times y is xy. Y times x is just yx. Y times 2y is 2y squared. Okay, where are our like terms here? 3x squared, there's no other x squareds to collect it with. 6xy, add 1yx. Well, I should have really technically written that as xy. 6xy as 1xy is 7xy's plus 2y squared. Right, this is one that's a bit difficult for me to show on the board for the rotation bit, but I'll show you the other bits. I'll explain what to do for the rotation part B part. The triangle A is translated by 6 minus 3 to give triangle T. Draw and label the triangle A on the grid. So we don't know where triangle A is, but we know it's been moved 6 to the right and 3 down to get triangle T. So we need to kind of reverse all of that. So I'm going to choose a point here. I'm going to go 3 up and 6 to the left. Right, so I'm going to draw this. This is the top of my triangle. I'm just going to draw this triangle. So I don't have a ruler on here, but you use a ruler. So this is triangle A. Let me just check that. So here's my triangle A. If I go 6 right and 3 down, yeah, I get that triangle T. Triangle T is rotated 90 degrees anti-clockwise, about 0, 0 to give triangle B. Put triangle B on the grid. So you need some tracing paper here. So, pen as well. So rotate means turn. So I'll be tracing my shape over and turning my paper. 90 degrees is a quarter turn, but it's got to be anti-clockwise. It's got to be to the left. So I'm going to place my tracing paper. You might have some baking paper at home to use for this. Place it over the shape. It's going from the point 0, 0. I need a little dot at 0, 0. Then I'm going to draw. Let me just put that on the grid as well. Right, so I'm going to place my tracing paper over, trace around my shape T, rotating it anti-clockwise. So I put my pen at 0, 0, and I turn the paper a quarter turn to the left. So if you do that, then you trace it on. So it should be here. Sorry, again, I've not got a ruler. That is what your shape should look like. So the points -1, 1, -1, 3, -3, 2. Okay. I'll try and draw that a little bit better, actually. That bit's all right. And that bit. Triangle T is reflected in the line y equals -1. There's our reflection line. Y equals -1 is a straight line. Again, should be drawn with a ruler through there. Got to reflect my triangle T into that line to give triangle C. So this point is 2 squares away from my mirror line, so I need to go 2 squares this way. Same with this line, this point, this corner. 4 away, 4 away. Okay. Going to simply pop this straight into our calculator. Square root 5.2 squared minus 4.8 times negative 6.3. So it should look like something like that in your calculator. Equals, we need to round it to 3 significant figures, right? Not 3 decimal places. 3 significant figures is the first 3 numbers. So it should be 7.5, and that 6 rounds to a 7 because of the 8 that follows. Okay, the price of petrol decreases from £1.32 per litre to £1.02. Calculate the percentage decrease. Right, how do we find percentage change? There's a little formula you can remember. So if you ever ask for percentage decrease or increase, it's percentage change. Like by what percentage has it changed? Has it decreased or increased? And the formula is, you're not given this formula, you have to remember it. Difference over original times 100. So what do we mean by the difference? The difference in these prices. So £1.32 minus £1.02 is 0.3 or 30 pence. I'll keep your units consistent. I'll put 0.3. The original is your £1.32. Type that in your calculator. 0.3 divided by £1.32 times 100 gives you, so it's up to you how you round it, doesn't specify. You can round it to the nearest whole number or 22.7 or 23%. Trams to the airport leave every 50 minutes. Trams to the beach leave every 35 minutes. So a tram to the airport and a tram to the beach leave together at 9:30. So first of all, I'm going to find the lowest common multiple of 50 and 35 to find the next amount of minutes they leave at the same time. I know my 50 times table. It's very similar to my 5 times table. So I'm going to just go up, find my multiples of 35. It's just going to be easier, I think. So if you just look at those, we haven't got any multiples of 50 yet, have we? So let's carry on. Okay, let's continue. Still not got any. Aha, 350 minutes. I definitely know is a multiple of 50. So 350 minutes is your next amount of minutes they leave together. But I need the time on from 9:30 a.m. So how many lots of 60 minutes an hour, right? So I know that there's 5 lots of 60 to make 300. So 5 hours, 50 minutes. So what time would that be? So we've got 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, 2:30. So 2:30 p.m. is 5 hours. And I need another 50 minutes on that. So 30 minutes to take me to 3 p.m. Got another 20 minutes to get to 50. That'd be 3:20 p.m. Make sure, yeah, so you have to write it either the 24-hour clock or 3:20 p.m. Need your AM or PM on there, so obviously it's PM. I might snip this over to show you this with a ruler. Right, so Hero and Taylor are both electricians. Hero does not charge to visit a house, but charges a fixed rate per hour of the work. The graph shows the relationship between hours worked and the total charge made by Hero. Explain how this graph shows that Hero's total charge is directly proportional to the hours. Well, first of all, it goes through 0, 0. So something about going through the origin, because that's because he's not charging as a fixed rate. So passes through, you could write the origin or 0, 0 would be the coordinates. And so the reason we know it's direct proportion, he charges a fixed rate per hour, so it's a straight line graph. It's going up at a constant, isn't it? Okay, Taylor does charge to visit a house and charges the same fixed rate per hour as Hero. So here you can see Hero, hours worked to be 0 because he's not charging his fixed rate, but because Taylor is, we need a parallel line because he's charging the same, but we just need to move it up our grid somewhere. It's a parallel line, not through 0, so something like that would give you 2 marks. Okay, Eve, Jack and Ling share some money in the ratio 2 to 3 to 4. Jack gets £720. So this is Eve, Jack, Ling, Jack. So I always think of ratio in terms of parts, boxes. Eve has 2, Jack has 3, Ling has 4. Jack gets £720. Jack is your middle 3 boxes, so it's 720 divided by 3 is 240. So each box in this ratio, every single box here is worth 240. So how much does Ling get? Well, Ling's got 4 boxes, 240 in each, which is £960. Got Amir, Beth and Casey share some money in the ratio 3 to 5 to C. Casey's share is 2/3 of the total. Right, so Casey shares 2/3 of the total, which means Amir and Beth will be 1/3. So let's just think about this, right? So you've got thirds, that's Amir and Beth, and that's Casey. Casey's getting double the amount of Amir and Beth, isn't he? So we know his share is double this. So if that was 1, that would be 2, but this is 8 parts, so that's got to be 16 because it's double. Okay, so the probability that Sam works from home on a Monday is 0.4. Remember, each branch of your tree diagram equals 1, so it's got to be 0.6. The probability that Sam works from home on a Friday is 0.2. 0.8 to make 1. Okay, so that's your completed tree diagram. Work out the probability that Sam works from home on a Monday, but does not work from home on a Friday. So what do you do along your branches? You multiply 0.4 times 0.8, 0.32. Six-sided numbered spinner is thrown 50 times. The score for each row is recorded. We're going to find F and N. So first of all, this frequency row is equal to 50. So it's easy, quite easy to get F. If you subtract all of these other values away from 50, you get F is 7. Next bit is a little bit more tricky. So normally when we find the average, the mean average from a frequency table, we start by doing the first column times the second column. Don't know N, so I'm just going to put 4N here. And then we'd find the total of this and divide it by 50. But we don't know the total here. I'm going to call it T for now. But we know that T divided by 50 gives you 5.5. So what is T? Well, if I times both sides by 50, T is 275. So let's just add up what we have here already. So we've got 12, add 6, add 45, add 96, add 57. 216 plus 4N. I mean to write 270 here. Let me just check. Yeah. Oh no, 275 equals 275. So let's make N the subject. Let's solve to find N. Let's take 216 from both sides. There's something wrong here. 5.5 times 50 is 275. We should add those values again. 12 plus 6 plus 45 plus 96 plus 50. Not 57, it's 56, isn't it? Sorry. We all make mistakes, don't we? 8 times 7 is 56. That makes more sense. 215. Okay, so 215. Oops, sorry about that. 215 plus 4N is 275. Take 215 from both sides. There we go. This makes more sense now. Divide both sides by 4. So you get N is 15. Okay, and next question. We're going to draw the graph. We've got all our points found already, or our Y values for our X values. Let's put them on the graph. -4, 6.5. That's difficult to see on this grid. -3, 4. -2, 1. -1, -4. Right, you'll see your graph's disjointed here. So you need two separate curves. It's because this is a reciprocal graph. You might be wondering how to draw, when you did this, you might have been thinking, how do I actually join this together? Well, it's two separate kind of like curves. So one like this, drawn freehand, and the other like this. It's because it's a reciprocal graph. Use your graph to find the positive solution of when this graph is equal to 0. When is this graph equal to 0? It's when it crosses the x-axis here and here. But it wants the this is a negative solution. We don't want that. We want the positive solution, which is here, which is 1.9 to 1 decimal place. Hey, oh, this is our last question. So diagram shows a circle inside a square. Work out the percentage of the square that's shaded. Even if you don't get your percentage right at the end, like what can you do from this? What areas can you find? The entire square would be 12 times 12, which is 144. Right, so let's get the area of the circle next. Area of a circle, you need to know this, will not be given it. Pi times r squared. R here, there's a radius from the centre to the edge is 6. Pi times 6 squared is 113.097. I'm just going to subtract them. If I subtract my square from a circle, I get these 4 bits around the end. So 144 minus 113.097. 30.903. But I only want one of those like corners, so I'm going to divide that by 4. You get 7.73, just rounded. So that's the amount, the area that's shaded, but I want that as a percentage of the square. So I always think first, what fraction of the square has been shaded? It's 7.73 out of 144. What's that as a decimal? Let's just divide it. 7.73 divided by 144 is 0.053, blah, blah, blah. Times it by 100. Well, I've got 5.4% here. I'm just looking at the mark scheme. They will give you anything from 5.36 to 5.4. Well done if you got that one right, and hopefully you found this useful. You should be able to find recordings for the paper 2 and 3 here on this YouTube channel too. Okay, thank you.